When do we stop being sinners? In Matthew 9:9-13, we read the account of when Jesus was sitting at the table, when many tax collectors and sinners came and sat down with him and his disciples. When the Pharisees saw it, they were put out and asked why Jesus would do this. Jesus said to them, "Those who are well have no need of a physician, but those who are sick. But go and learn what this means. I desire mercy and not sacrifice, for I did not come to call the righteous, but sinners to repentance." I love this picture of Jesus sitting down with sinners. It gives me confidence and reassures me that I am accepted. But there is one thing in this passage that I particularly want to talk about today, and that is this phrase, or this word repentance, and how it relates to sin. When Jesus says he has come to call sinners to repentance and not the righteous, I want you to believe that Jesus was calling the Pharisees righteous and the rest of them sinners. This can't be the case, as Jesus condemns them as being children of the devil in John 8:44. Hardly a positive picture of righteousness. We also know that no one is righteous, not one, and all have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God, Romans 3. So what is Jesus saying about the difference between those tax collectors and sinners who came to sit with Jesus and the Pharisees? It seems to me that he is contrasting those who realise they are sick, i.e. sinners, with those who believe they are righteous, law-abiding. But the last part of this calling goes on to say that sinners are called to repentance. Now, does being called to repentance mean that these sinners are now to stop being sinners and become like the Pharisees, strict, law-abiding, self-righteous people? It cannot be. So what does it mean to call a sinner to repentance? And once a sinner has repented, are they not sinners anymore? I think if we understand the word repentance properly, it will help us to see what Jesus is really getting at when he calls sinners to repentance. The Greek word is metanoia, which, like the Hebrew word shuv, is a picture of turning to God. The Old Testament frequently uses this term in getting Israel to turn away from their idols and false gods and all the practices that were involved with them, to come back to the one true God, where safety and healing were to be found. When Jesus came and lived among men, he referred always to his works that spoke of who he was, the works of healing, the works of love that he did wherever he went. In almost all of these instances, the sick would come to Jesus as the source of healing, having witnessed that only he had the power to change a man from sick to well. This physical change, this healing in a person, brings happiness and release from pain and discomfort. It brings a new way of living, unrestrained from the shackles of sickness. When Jesus calls to us to repentance, he wants to bring healing and light, a new way of living where our souls are healed from the pain of separation, from life and wellness that only union with the God our Father can bring. The man who is physically healed jumps with delight and embraces the healer, but is also aware that he doesn't want to go back to his old unwell state again and the misery that it brought. In Luke 4:18, Jesus says, "The Spirit of the Lord is on me because he has anointed me to proclaim the good news to the poor. He has sent me to proclaim freedom from the prisoners and recovery of sight from the blind, to set the oppressed free." When we are called to repentance, we are called to turn from captivity, blindness and oppression. We are called to be set free from the way of life that caused such harm and misery, to change to a life that gets its power directly from God, where we are joined to him and become one with him. In regard to the person who comes to Jesus in repentance, Brennan Manning writes in the Ragamuffin Gospel, "He is prostrate in adoration, lost in wonder and praise. He knows repentance is not what we do in order to earn forgiveness. It is what we do because we have been forgiven. It serves as an expression of gratitude rather than an effort to earn forgiveness." Jesus calls us to repentance, but it is not about focusing on stopping our sinful ways. It is about focusing on Jesus and the changing the course of our life. Jesus calls us to follow him, to unburden ourselves from the pain of living without him to the joy of living with him. "Come to me, all you who labour and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and lowly in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light." Matthew 11:28-30. In Luke 11:25, we see what happens when an unclean spirit goes out of a man. It passes through waterless places, seeking rest and not finding any. It says, I will return to my house from which I came. And when it comes, it finds it swept and put in order. Then it goes and takes along 7 other spirits more evil than itself, and they go in and live there. And the last state of that man becomes worse than the first. If we just try and stop sinning by cleaning up our lives, the end result will be worse than the first. We may well end up like the Pharisees, who Jesus called children of the devil. Repentance is about coming to Jesus, to the one who loved us, to the one who has the power to change us, to bring life into our dead bodies, to follow him, to be one with him, to love him. Bless you and thanks for listening.